Hey YouTube, back with another random rant. Same thing as last time, just one take. Just ramble on and see where it goes. As you can see from the title of the video, are past Call of Duty games actually better than what we see today? And my answer is yes, but the truth is somewhere in the middle. Like a lot of things in life, the truth is somewhere in the middle. And basically, the main question that I ask and what I've been thinking about is, are we blinded by nostalgia? Basically, is that why we think that these past games are good? Um, with that being said, again, I do think that the past games are better. So basically, for me, the first Call of Duty game I played was Call of Duty 2 Big Red One on the PS2. Didn't really play online for that game. Just played split screen and campaign with my brother and my cousin. Um, Basically, the first online experience for me, I think, like how it was for everybody else, was COD 4 Modern Warfare on the PS3. Um, that's the game that basically revolutionized online FPS games, or like online gaming in general. I'd say that was like the one that just changed it all. And I'm coming at this and looking at it from the angle of like enjoyability and not from like a technological standpoint. Like, I'm not asking, like how smooth was the game, how was the connection, the hit detection, etc., stuff like that. Because obviously, like in today's world, with like the PCs and the consoles we have, obviously the modern day shooters are smoother, and from a technological standpoint, they're obviously better, right? I'm looking at it from how healthy was the community, were people enjoying the game, stuff like that. And like for me, it's like 100%. Like back in the day, the everybody enjoyed it more, and there's obviously reasons for that. I don't think it's that simple, but I think the main reason, one of the big reasons for that, is that was like our first experience with online gaming. Like now, obviously, as time has gone on, we've played all different kinds of online games. So, it's our expectations and stuff have definitely changed. But that was like the first hit of drugs, basically. I guess you could look at it like that. It was like just inject this into my veins. It was crazy. But I think what's changed is video games, online gaming has become very mainstream now. Back in the day, during when COD 4 came out, um, around that time, World at War, MW2, Black Swan, that sort of time, like it wasn't as mainstream. Now it's like you have these investors, these corporate businessmen type people, like coming in and seeing that they can make a lot of money, and they're just investing all this money into it. And when they do that, they're expecting a return on their investment. They want to make profit, and that has like negative, in my opinion, has negative effects. Um, and basically, when you do have that influx of cash coming in, and those developers, obviously they want the cash, they want their game to grow, whatnot. There can be this like pressure on them to, again, make money, and one way that they do that is um, how we've seen in COD, the cosmetics, the skins, that sort of thing, adding the battle passes, right? There's been a large focus on that in recent Call of Duty titles. And in some ways, it's been good. Like, MW Modern Warfare, 2019, they had the battle pass, they had the skins, but a lot of them were grounded, right? At the start, obviously not later, but at the start. People loved it. The game did well. Warzone was popping. It was good. But when they see that, okay, if we do this, like, look, we're making money, and they see other games like Fortnite, like Apex, making even more money than them, they're just gonna think, okay, what else can we add? What other collaboration can we do? Like they saw Fortnite do all those collabs with other people. Now, I feel like the Call of Duty developers and whatnot decided to do the same thing, and you see these random collaborations, right? The Ninja Turtles, the Nicki Minaj, Seth Rogen, Peter Griffin, all that stuff. And when you do that, it strips the game of its identity. And back in the day, again, COD 4, World at War, MW2, Black Ops 1, they had a distinct identity, distinct storyline, distinct characters. You knew what you were getting, right? Very distinct. But when you just sign these collaborations with everybody, and you just, you know, flood the game with these battle passes, these skins and whatnot, the game just loses its identity. We saw with the Black Ops 7 campaign. Like, what is that campaign? You see the clips of it and all this weird stuff going on, like what is that, right? You had Ghost, Captain Price, Soap, Reznov, that sort of stuff, right? Compare that to what we saw in Black Ops 7. It's like, it's a night and day. Like, what are we doing here, right? And it's received a lot of backlash, but it's like when you focus on that kind of stuff, you hollow out the game, right? Also, they put such a big focus on player retention, skill-based matchmaking, etc., where it's like the game is no longer just about, hey, having fun. Like, hey, you hop on the game, you have fun. They, for example, just another example on that is, they've taken away like persistent lobbies, right? The game ends, they disband the lobby, and they've been doing that for some time now. One of the core experiences of Call of Duty was the persistent lobbies, the trash talking. There was nothing like hopping into a party with your boys, getting into a game, trash talking the other team and whatnot, and doing that for like 5, 6, whatever games in a row, right? That was a core part of the Call of Duty experience. They've taken that away and they're prioritizing again player retention. They always say like, oh, we look at the data for skill-based matchmaking and all that, and this is what retains players the best. This is what keeps our profits up. So that's why we do it. They're willing to again prioritize their profits over what's good for the franchise, good for the player, good for the soul and identity of Call of Duty. Or at least that's my opinion. But I feel very strongly about that. I think that's a main problem they have now. I'm not saying that they just had to keep the same game the entire time. Like, I'm not saying they should have just never changed and just upgraded, graphics and like audio and like netcode and whatnot and just kept the game same. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you can't remove the foundational pillars of a game and expect it to do well. Prime example is Counter-Strike. One of the biggest games on the planet right now. The core foundation of that game has stayed the same. They, as the years went on, they didn't think like, hey, let's add kill streaks to the game. Let's add, they didn't look at other FPS games and said, hey, they got like, vehicles and stuff in the game. Let's add that to Counter-Strike. They stayed loyal to their fan base and they stuck with their guns on what worked. And again, hop on Twitch right now, look at how many people are watching Counter-Strike. Look at how many check their player count. Like, it's in the millions. It's one of the most popular games on the planet. I don't think you can say that for Call of Duty. But with that being said, like I was saying before, a lot of us, including myself, like, nostalgia plays a big part in our opinions regarding these games. Obviously when you played those games, the COD 4, World at War, MW2, Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, we were younger, right? I don't know about you guys, I'm 29 years old, so I was able to live through that golden era of COD when I was young. And obviously when you're younger, like, you're more carefree, no real responsibilities, like, you're just able to game, right? That obviously plays a role in it, right? Looking back at those games, you get very nostalgic about your youth and etc. And if you look at my previous video, I ranted about nostalgia and whatnot, growing old and not growing old, but like growing up and stuff, and just how nostalgic I get looking back at those games and stuff. But that obviously plays a big part in it. But even with that being said, again, I still think those games are still better. They stuck to their guns. You knew what you were getting. They had a distinct identity. But I feel like they've lost their road. They've lost their path, basically. And I don't know what's going on now. Sometimes I think, like, I hope some other company comes out and makes like an arcadey type first-person shooter that's like modern, like based on like modern military sort of thing. I know we saw like XDefiant, but that was obviously like Ubisoft and like it wasn't like modern military stuff. But I mean that thing folded quick. Battlefield its own thing. Medal of Honor is basically dead. But who knows? Maybe some company comes out and like creates a game like that has kill streaks, perk systems, prestige, challenges, and it doesn't focus on skill-based matchmaking, player retention, and stuff like that. If some company did that and they had a solid backing, I mean, they could really give Call of Duty a run for their money. But who knows? Maybe that's wishful thinking. I don't know. But yeah, just a rant I had, something that was on my mind. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys agree? Do you disagree? Did I miss anything? Feel free to comment that. But yeah, thanks for listening. Hope you guys have a good one.